Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. This is the first of a couple episodes that we're doing showing a conversion of a Nissan S13 to an S15 front end. Not only do we swap the headlights and the hood and all the stuff, it also gets a Chargespeed body kit. And as you can see, this car is currently equipped with a UZ V8 out of a Lexus. The S13 with the pop-up headlights of course requires some cutting before we're able to fit the S15 headlights, so we're stripping it first and then see where we're gonna cut the chassis.
As always, small things. It always seems very easy, but in this case we had some wires that were the connectors crimped on after the wires were fed through the original crash structure. So that's always one of those things that's always a little bit more time consuming than you'd expect, but apart from that it came out all relatively easy. And now it's time to put the other stuff back on. First we're going to remove the radiator, and then we're going to cut the front structure over there to accommodate the S15 lights. Mika did a great job stripping the S13. There's a couple things that were not as straightforward as we hoped, but eventually he got it all out. And now we have to fit some of the parts, like one of them is this S15 bumper. As you can see, we put the bash bar inside there, and there's a couple other parts that we have. Like the thing has got like S15 headlights, like super nice. And we need to cut out this section over here to make that fit, obviously, and see if we can. It's actually got some Chargespeed fenders from Japan in order to make this an S13.5 as it's called. So yeah, so the next step is to cut out everything that obstructs the S15 headlights, and we're gonna make some brackets to tilt the radiator forward a little bit.
Don't forget to take a look at our website as well, einzel.nl. We ship worldwide, of course, Wisefab, Feal Suspension, our own brand Einzel, gearboxes, quick change differentials, axles, all kinds of things. A lot of fabrication components, of course, air jacks, subframes for quick change, you name it. Drop us an email and we'll hook you up.
So it's time to fit the S15 headlights to the S13. As you can see, I'm about to cut it over there where the white line is, indicating a little bit. So I expect that there's going to be a lot more to cut off for this, because we need to fit like a bash bar and all that kind of stuff. But it's very easy to cut something off. It's not very easy to cut something back on. I always like to start with the bare minimum of cuts, and then when we're able to fit the headlights and the fenders and all that stuff properly, then we'll make the final cuts. That's what it looks like after the cut. As you can see, I've made it easy on myself to get nice square edges, and we should be able to fit the headlights and the fenders and see how we end up. See that the car is leveled on the lift, so we use these little shims until you get that car the way you want it to sit. And the reason for that is because you're going to be messing with headlights and stuff, so you want to be able to have some frame of reference to where they're sitting straight, and makes everything else much easier to work on. So these fenders are fitting pretty well. It's a Japanese brand called Chargespeed. They're just held on by one bolt right now, and they already seem to fit pretty well. Looks pretty good. Got some original Nissan headlights over here. Very, very, very nice original parts. How we're looking with the front bumper on. As you can tell, there's also a reason why it's very important to level the car out, because if nothing is level, then it's very difficult to measure stuff out. We know that the floor here is pretty level, and the bumper is sitting on the exact same pieces of metal and we know that the car is fully level and fenders are fitting pretty well. So for first mock-up, that's starting to look pretty cool. So a little example of what happens in real life compared to the internet. So these are pretty good fitting parts, but as you can see, if I look over here, we're gapping right there and we're tight over there. As I said before, everything is completely level, and on this side we're gapping over here and we're completely tight over there. And you also need to make choices. So are you gonna let this edge sit over there, or are you gonna bring this edge closer to the rear? So even with very good fitting fiberglass stuff, you always need to make some choices and find a median. Like, it's not like OEM stuff that is perfectly straight on. This piece is just here for a mock-up. You don't have to worry, that normally goes down over there. So we're just checking out what's going on. I got it pretty well lined up. I marked inside the center line of the bumper, and if we measure it out, we're on the edge of the fender, we're on 70, almost 73, 72.5 on that dot. We do the same thing over there. Difficult to hold the camera in that thing. Nothing is set in stone yet. We're just mocking stuff up. We're just checking if we're gonna be able to fit this stuff whatsoever. And you have a very high part over here. You can see this is almost level with the bumper. So your bumper is actually gonna sit on the dashboard. So this is a mock-up of the headlights. As you can see, we have them fitting the fenders, and I use this piece over here to connect them to one another, and this is just a temporary thing to hold the headlights in place. Obviously these kinds of jobs are 90% measuring and trying things out and 10% actually working, so or actually fabricating. So that's the most important thing, that you make sure that everything fits very well. And you always have to make choices with these gaps. It's never a perfect fit. I'm actually quite happy with this side. The other side I'm a little less happy about, but it's getting there. Yeah, like I said, you always have to make choices. Like, are you gonna make the hood fit perfectly? You're gonna make the fenders fit perfectly. There's always a couple millimeters off somewhere. So we try to do the best job we can, and it's also very important that if we actually make the actual fitment, like these points over here and that point over there, when we're making the actual fixtures for that there's a little bit of adjustability, so you can move the headlight around. That's very important, at least it is for me. So yeah, that's the mock-up phase. The next thing we're going to do is make all the panel gaps sit correctly, and once they sit correctly, we're going to build the structure that holds the headlights and the radiator.